are actually getting out and about now, which is wonderful. But we do know how important Google Meet is to what we're doing these days. So we really wanted to do our best to ensure that you guys go in understanding Google Meet, or even go in with a slide deck or something under your arm that you can share with the people on the other end, because we know that we could be excellent at using Google Meet, but if the people that we're working with have no idea how to use it, then it's really of very minimal value. So we're hoping we can help you out with that, and we have some great stuff on slides with some functionalities there, because those are kind of the main things that we use as SAOs. And Lou has put together some amazing slides for us to go through, and some really good interactive learning for us for this afternoon. So thank you, Lou. And I'm enjoying kind of co-facilitating. So here's the agenda for the workshop today. I'll just give it to you for a second. It's basically, this is the first half of the presentation, which is Google Meet. And what we did want to talk to you about is, I'm sure you're finding as you're working through all of these technological pieces, that sometimes it just feels like you do not have enough machines or enough space to see all the things that you need to see. One way of dealing with that is splitting your screen. Unfortunately, because we're using Zoom, which kind of created an additional screen, it's hard to demonstrate it, but I can kind of talk you through the slides here. So basically, a split screen is when you take two windows. So you might be clicking on your tabs, separating them out, and then bringing them back together so you can see both of them. Because right now you can see I'm on a tab, but I can't see what's on these other tabs. They're in behind. So there's a way that you can actually pull out one of the tabs by holding onto them and pulling. So you can see here. You minimize your window a bit. So you would click on, in my case, this little green dot. And so it's not taking up all of the space. And that then makes it smaller. You can pull out the tab that you want to pull out. And pulling out tabs is very easy. In fact, sometimes it's a bit annoying because it happens and you didn't want it to happen. So you just grab onto the tab here and pull it out. And then that leaves you with two pieces on your screen. This is the original window that the tab used to be in. And here's the tab kind of floating in outer space on its own. And what you would do then is you would want them to both fit. So you could toggle between them, but there's a way to actually make them fit. And the way that you do that, you resize them. Come on. And what you do is, in the case of the application I have, is that you would just click on the little green button there and hold it. And it shrinks one of the two halves of your screen, one of your two windows, into a half a screen. And then all you have to do is go back on the other one, click on it, and it fills up the other half. So it's really about just holding the green button. So you see the green button?
That's for a Mac though, right?
That is for a Mac. Lou, can you enlighten us a little bit more about what that would look like on a PC?
On a PC, basically what you've done is once you've pulled out the tab, okay, now you've got two windows. And what you can do is just, if you click and hold the corner of one of the windows, you can resize the windows so that you can fit both of them. And just, what you can do is move them beside each other, right? So on an Apple or a Mac, it happens automatically when you click on the, click and hold the green dot. But in a PC Windows-based, what you're doing is you are sizing each window separately so that you can create the sort of the split screen idea. I'm sure there probably is a PC split screen function. I'm just not as familiar with that.
Or your other option is old school, use multiple devices. So right now, sitting here in my office, I have two devices going. I have my Chromebook and my personal Mac, and then I also have a monitor. So I've got things kind of divvied up between several pieces of equipment. Usually I only use my monitor and my main computer, but because I sometimes need to see the whole screen of what I'm doing, I have this second computer there. Another thing that you can be doing, but you can't see it all the time, is you can just toggle, between your different tabs, which I think a lot of us have done also, but you don't have that ability to see everything at once. So So splitting the screen is a good way to get around that.
I got a question. Hey, Lise, where is the slide deck? If I want to put it on my second device, like my ministry computer where I can't access a whole lot of things, is it in our shared with me or anything?
What I'll do is I'll email you the link right now, so that way you've got it. You can access it very easily.
Okay, that'd be good. Thanks.
Good question. All right, so we have a quick little mental math warm up. You know, because we always want to be in the presence of mathematics. So, looking at this fun Ferris wheel, how might you determine how many people could be on the Ferris wheel at once? What would be your strategy to do that?
Count.
How?
I count the number of individual containers and estimate that there could be either 4 or 6 people, and then come up with an answer and estimate.
Okay. Could you get an accurate answer from counting what you see?
No,
Why not?
because I don't see the full Ferris wheel, and I'd have to estimate the numbers that are not being shown.
Okay.
Well,
Anybody else?
you could count the ones that are on this side of the Ferris wheel and double it for the cars. And then, as Brian said, count the number of people or estimate how many can fit in one of those cars and then multiply.
Genius. You guys are genius.
It's the reason these people are heading to the province. Anybody else have a strategy or an idea? Anybody have an estimate?
8, 10.
$76 to $80. Skinny people.
So how many were you supposing were going to fit into each one of those little containers?
4.
4? Okay. Anyone else?
Someone has suggested that you could put like one adult in the middle and 2 kids on the other side.
There you go.
So you could have 3 on one side, in fact.
But then does it become a weight ratio thing? Because you don't want one side heavier than the other.
You want the kid on the outside.
Then it starts swinging and you feel sick.
All right. Oh, I think we've solved that one.
Now this is a great way to sort of it's more about the thinking and the talking about the thinking and how you might solve the equation or solve the problem itself than it is anything else. There isn't necessarily a right answer. There probably is, but I think it's more the discussion around math and different strategies and the approach that's most important here. Sorry, Lisa.
Well, no, and I was going to say the other thing that I always missed as a child when I did math, I always was thinking exactly like you guys were talking around, what was it, small kids and an adult. There never seemed to be enough information in the question. So I think it also becomes about children being able to contextualize the problem and prove their answer based on that specific context that they've come up with. So I really like this kind of thing because it really does kind of force you to think of a lot of different possibilities and a lot of different answers that could be correct based on the context.
Can I ask a quick question, tech question? On the right side is where all of our pictures are appearing, and they were at the top initially. Is there a way to move them? Because I can't see the screen.
You can,
Minimize them.
you could just click on the actual the bar with the pictures, and you could set them up so that they're horizontal, or you can move them somewhere out of the way vertically.
Okay, I see that now. Thanks.
All right, so the next screen again is really talking about, making mistakes. And that's something that many of us who went to school in the 60s, 70s, and 80s weren't encouraged to do. But it is something that we've learned is really important for our own development. And, this woman has made a small fortune in torturing other women with Spanx.
I love Spanx.
Oh, God.
I threw my back out at a wedding trying to pull my Spanx up.
That's great. I didn't know that she invented it. I learned something huge today.
There you go. That's the woman you want to throw darts at. It's more important to just keep trying until you're successful than to give up. Giving up is really failing, more so than failure itself. So anyway, interesting. Again, we've talked before about Jo Boaler and all the work she does around making mistakes and learning from mistakes and growing those neural pathways from, you know, having made those errors. And, you know, we've heard people talk about how we're learning through our mistakes, and we're making assumptions and making connections and compressing down all our knowledge so that we can learn more things. So, you know, working in a technology paradigm is very much this kind of work. It's not about being correct or incorrect. It's about messing around, finding the 12 different ways to do the same thing and not giving up. And here's just a link to something. There's a video there that's about 12 minutes long, which I think a lot of you have probably seen, on making mistakes. But then there's also a reference to a really great article about using children using their fingers and how it used to be discouraged, and now there's some real scientific evidence to say it's quite important. Although it's interesting, when I do the Lawson work and we're sitting with kids, they still look at you when they pull their fingers out like, am I going to get in trouble for doing this?
Yeah.
All right, Lou. So Lou is going to talk to us about how to create a Google Meet from your calendar.
Okay.
Oh, and I made the first mistake by not turning my mic on and was talking to myself. So thank you so much.
I don't even know where my calendar is.
Okay, well, I could show you how to find the calendar. So basically, I don't know, Lisa, do you want to give me...
Sure. Unshare?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'll do is...
Is it on the waffle?
Pardon me? It's in the waffle. Yeah, it's in the waffle. So what I'll do is I'll start off with the slide deck, and then I'll actually walk you through it. Okay, so give me a moment to get in to the slide deck here and to share my screen.
What tab should we have open, Lou?
For now, just follow the presentation, and then I'm going to instruct you to add a tab so that you can access your calendar. Okay, sound good? Okay, so here we are, 2 ways to do it. So if everybody can see my slide deck, basically what you're doing is you're going to go to your waffle, okay, and you're going to click on the calendar, all right, and if you want to try to start doing that now, as I talk you through, that's great. If you want to watch first and then do it, that's great too, okay, so we can work both ways. But if you, sorry, let me go back. If you go into the waffle, it'll open up your different apps. Here is the calendar app, okay? So you're gonna click on the calendar app, and you're gonna go into your calendar, okay? Now, when you get into your calendar itself, okay, I kind of like the month view, okay, and that's at the top in the toolbar. It's over on the right-hand side, close to where your picture is. I like month view. Some people like daily, some people like weekly, but I kind of like month view myself because it gives me an overall picture of what's going on. And if it's not defaulted to month view, what you do is you click on the arrow beside beside the month or beside where it is, and then it'll open up a drop-down box, and then you could click on the view that you want. Okay, so that's kind of how you do that. And this is what you should have in front of you. Okay, so if I can toggle over here, I'm going to toggle over. You can see my calendar here. Move this picture onto another screen. Okay, so here at the top is the month view. Okay, so I can change the view so I can show you the year. I can do a week. Okay, and so it's different views. I don't really like the week because it doesn't give me enough info. Okay, and this is the day. Okay, I prefer month. Okay, you can actually do schedule too, which is a different view altogether. Okay, which just sort of gives you a list of what's going on. Okay, but I prefer the month view. Okay, and basically what you do if you want to go into make a Google Meet. Okay, I'm just going to show you here, and then I'll go back and kind of review it in the slide deck. So I'm going to double click on a day that I want it to happen. I'm going to give it SAO Google Meet. Okay, and over here, I don't want an all-day meeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and this allows me to choose a time frame. So I'm going to choose, let's say, 4 p.m. to 5 o'clock, okay, over here. So this is the start, and this is the end, okay? You can adjust time zones as well, but I rarely, if ever, use it, okay? And then what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to add a conference. Now, you won't have this, make it a Zoom meeting. I do because I have the tool itself, but you'll have the adding conference. So you click on that, click on Hangouts Meet. Okay, and now what it's done is it's generated information around a Hangout. If I want to see that information, okay, it's right here. I click on Manage Details. Okay, and here's the actual meeting link. If I want to right-click on that link, I can, and then I can copy it. Okay, and that way I can send it directly to somebody in an email if I want to. There's also the option for somebody to phone in using this phone number, but I'm going to leave that to Lisa because she's got a little more experience around that. Okay, now I can right-click on the link and send it via an email, or what's easier is to just add somebody's email in here. Okay, and now...
Wait, do it again.
Okay, so see over here.
Oh, add guests.
Under guests. Okay, under guests, I can add a guest. Okay, and there you are. Okay, and I just started putting in your name. Okay, because I've emailed you before. We've emailed each other before. If we haven't, it might not pop up. Anybody in the TELTGAF domain will be here. TELTGAF and probably Ontario.ca domain is likely in here. But if you don't have their email and you've never emailed them before, then you're going to have to put it in. Okay, does that make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, I'm going to take silence as yes. And then basically, if you want to add some notes, okay, make sure you are using your Chromebook and logging into your account. I'm just making this up. Okay, now if you want to get really fancy schmancy, okay, if you want to remind yourself, in terms of when this meeting is going to happen, okay, you can use this. Okay, now you could email yourself, you could send yourself a text message to remind yourself or your participants, I suppose, that it's going to start. You could set how soon prior to the actual meeting itself. It could be minutes, hours, days. Okay. Sometimes I set a calendar post to myself and repeat it like 4 or 5 times just to remind me to do it. You can. That's just me. Like 5 days before, 3 days before, 2 days before, and the day before, and the day after, right? Just to remind me to do whatever it is I have to do. I kind of use it as a reminder. And over here, if you want to give it a color, if you're one of those color coding people, and I sometimes color code in my calendar more than anywhere else, you can choose a color. Okay, if I've invited everybody I want to invite, and I've got the name to my meeting, and I've got my dates, I've got my Google Hangout here, I can hit save. And what will happen is I can, if I click send, it'll send an invitation to all of the calendar guests. Okay, and that's it.
With a meet in it, right? The link is in it.
Yeah, and the link is in it. So if you go into your email, then what will happen is you'll have the meeting link information inside that email. Now let's say, because this sometimes happens, you need to go make a change. I just click on the actual event itself. Okay, I click the little pencil to go back into edit. And so let's say 4 o'clock was a little bit too late. Let's start maybe a little earlier this meeting. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Okay, but before I do that, I just want to show you this. This is pretty cool. Let's say this is something like, let's say it's a weekly thing. I can duplicate this particular post with all of the information and then just assign it different dates and stuff. So I've used this a number of times, and I could delete it. I've never used these other ones, so I'm not going to go into that. so I'm going to hit save. Okay, now I can write in a message. I had to change the time as we can start earlier. And then I hit send. Okay, and the people who received the calendar invite will get the updates, the change in time, and we'll get that message that I just sent them. Okay, so that's, in a nutshell, okay, that's how you use the calendar. So if I go through the slide deck itself, okay, you can double click on a space, or you can click on the X on the bottom of the calendar there. Okay, if you click on the X on the bottom of the calendar, you got to make sure that you're setting the proper day. Okay, if you click on the actual box of the day, then it'll automatically be there. Okay, I kind of gave you a little bit of a tour, okay, of the different pieces in the actual calendar itself. I'm not going to go through it too in depth now, but it's there for you to review in case I went a little bit too quickly through the actual calendar invite piece. Okay, this is the important part here, where you're adding the title, you're looking at the date, start time, end time. Okay, down here is you have an option of choosing which calendar. You can create multiple calendars for different things. So you can have a personal calendar, a work calendar, and you can have your, I don't know, grocery calendar or whatever. Okay, you can have a whole bunch of different calendars, and you can assign whatever calendar event to a particular calendar if you want. Color code it, okay? I wouldn't worry about the visibility piece, but I always just leave it this way and it's fine, okay? I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Talked a little bit about the notification piece. You know where to put the notes, okay? And some of these other options in terms of adding guests, okay? I guess, let me jump back up here for a moment. This is where you're adding your conference, okay, to create the actual link. And I'm just going to jump down here. So this is sort of how to do it in 8 steps, okay? So this sort of summarizes the whole thing in about 8 steps, okay? I just wanted to give you a little bit of a tour of the actual calendar. I haven't done it much justice because there's a great deal of functionality in the actual calendar, which is pretty cool. But this is a very simple 8-step process in terms of how to create an invite and invite guests. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Is that you, Lisa?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Well, yeah, going back. Yep, go ahead.
If I wanted to, along with the Google Meet, either send a video or a reading article prior, could I export something in here? Is that feasible?
Okay, so let's go in.
I just, like, sometimes I've done that. So you set up a meet and you're asking people to read something prior to the meet.
Yep. So if you go into the calendar invite itself, okay, so I went back into the SAO Google Meet. If you look over here, okay, you have the same functionality as you would a Word document. So for example, let's say I want to add, or sort of an email. And so let's say I want to add a file. I can do that. So I can click on this Google Meet or this document, and now it's included as part of the invite. If I wanted them to visit a website, let's say, I can create a website, add the URL.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Never done that before, but there you go. Okay, so I put it in here. I can set it up, the same sorts of editing features with bullet points, or I can number it. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so it's the same as an email in here, and you can send all the documents or anything, or links or anything that you need to. Okay, the good question. I like that one.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Anyone else? We good to move on?
Well, I had a quick one. I don't know if it's better for later, but if I have my Google Drive on my phone, but I don't see a way to do that on my phone. Do I, it doesn't give me access to my Waffle. Well, it gives me access to my Waffle, but my calendar doesn't appear. Is that just the app or my settings, or is that an individualized question?
Well, I have 2 apps on my phone, one for Gmail and one for Google Calendar. It's separate.
Okay, so on my regular drive, it doesn't give me access to that. Okay, so I'll look for Google Calendar on my phone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are
So
you using
Google Calendar, Google Drive, and the other one I would put in is Google Meets, because there is an app for that. So, for example, you're away from your computer, but you've got your phone with you. You could still participate in a Google Meet if you had that
Nice.
had that app.
Okay.
Okay.
I can show you what they look like if, Lou, if you want to unshare for a second.
Sure.
And I will put it in front of my account.
We have to go through the BlackBerry app, right?
Yeah,
No.
probably. I don't know. No?
You
I don't think so. I'm looking at my phone right now, Sue, because I'm trying to figure out. Judy, I had a similar question. So I have the Drive on my iPhone without the BlackBerry thingamabobber. So
Yeah.
there's the Drive there. If I go to the Waffle, I have everything that's in my Drive. But the only thing is, now I have the calendar. This is where I need help. I have the calendar, iPhone calendar, but I can't do this, what you just walked through on the calendar.
Well, you got to do it in the BlackBerry app. So
What you need to do is download the Google Calendar.
I have it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, and you were looking to create a Google Meet on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Gosh, I've never done that before.
I think you can. Like I'm just looking now. Mine isn't a BlackBerry, but using the Google Calendar app, there's a big plus sign. I'm pressing on it.
Yeah.
Now it's coming up with event.
Hang on. Plus.
Yeah.
I
Then
see
event,
title, location. Yep. New event.
and I'm just add conferencing as part of what you can scroll through on
Where
it.
did you get the ad conferencing?
It was after I had hit event. Second, let me do it again. So I did plus sign, event, and that's what popped up, Maria, when I clicked event. And as I scroll down, conferencing is in here. Add
Okay, so if I hit the plus sign, I get new event, title, location, all day. I don't see what you have, that blue.
Can't scroll it.
Scroll down.
If I scroll down, I have all day, ends, repeat, travel time, calendar, work, invitees. I don't have something that says event separate.
No, but does it say add conferencing anywhere in there?
No.
Okay. Well, then we'll have to look into that because
Yeah.
that's on your BlackBerry.
Wait.
No, that's on my iPhone.
Is
Oh.
Maria on? I think Maria is on her iPhone calendar app, not Google Calendar app.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Oh,
Because I got it to work, Maria. I got it downloaded and I'm working.
Okay, so what did you download then? So it's not the iPhone calendar.
No, Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Google Calendar, that's what I did wrong. Okay. So I have to search Google Calendar.
Yeah, in the App Store.
Something that's really helpful because they want you to use all of their suite of apps. So to Judy's question, if you're in your
Yeah.
if you're in your Google Drive and you click on the little list icon here,
Yep.
okay, and then go to the settings,
Yep.
which is the little gear.
Yep.
Sorry, it's hard to see on my screen. I realize
gotcha.
right there, right? If you choose default apps,
Yep.
it'll let you pick which ones it uses to open things, and it'll give you the option to download the Google apps as you go.
Right.
wow.
Okay, Sean, but right now I'm in the App Store. I can just hit Google Calendar and it's the same thing, correct?
Same thing, yeah.
Okay. I
And
want to make sure.
And then our ministry things are totally separate, right? When you have to use
Yeah.
the BlackBerry app.
Yeah, so the downside is that you can't access your Ontario Mail or your Ontario Calendar
Correct.
on these apps. So
Right.
what I tend to do is every time someone sends me an Ontario Calendar invite,
Yeah.
I just hit forward on the invite and send it to my TelGAF, and then I can put it in my calendar.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Good,
Yeah.
good sharing. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do as well. Just so it's all, I can't handle having to look at 3 or 4 different calendars. So I just make sure I put it all in the same place.
Yeah, and the calendar function of those BlackBerry apps is not good. So. and I would be fine with it if the BlackBerry app would allow me to add any other calendar, not just my Ontario one, but it won't let you do that. So
No, I'm trying and it's laughing at me.
yeah.
Doesn't let you do it.
So if,
Can somebody get it to work?
Even maybe a little bit later on, just because I'm sensitive to how much time we've got. If anyone wants to go through downloading apps and things like that, maybe Sean can stick around and we can help work you through that. Okay. Thanks a lot for sharing. That's awesome. Because I actually hadn't realized I could download the apps I wanted from the drive itself, which is pretty cool.
I didn't like it.
So that's a cool thing. Yeah, that's cool. So that's good. I'm glad. So
Right.
Lisa, do you wanna take slide number 22?
Sure. Oh, why does it keep doing this? There we go. Okay. All right. So what we thought was we would give you the opportunity to do some hands-on work, and you've already asked some really great questions. So what we thought you might do here is we've divided you into a group 1 and a group 2. And what we had thought was that you could, if you're in group 1, send an invite to a meeting to Lou, going through the steps from before. Or if you're in group 2, you could send me a Google Meet invite. We thought we'd give you about 5 minutes to just mess around and see if you could generate an invite from your calendar.
And if you need a resource slide, it's slide 19. Kind of takes you through that step by step.
Great.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a couple minutes, and then we'll meet back here in 5 minutes. So at 1:40.
Do I have to actually leave this meeting to go and do
No,
it?
no, you don't have to leave. You could just stay. And in fact, just go into your calendar.
So go to your drive, click on your waffle, and find your calendar.
Oh, I forgot to look at my name. Where am I? Whose group am I in?
I will find you. Just one sec.
Group 2, so it's Lisa.
Yeah, you're sending it to me.
Okay.
Thank you. So there's your calendar.
Okay, I just can't seem to minimize the screen so that I can move over to Google.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because you're stuck in Zoom.
Yeah.
You're saying, Pamela? Okay. Lou,
Yes.
do you have any advice for her in terms of?
Is it the screen with the people on it?
It's the Zoom, because it separates itself out from the browser.
Okay. What you can do, if you click and hold it, you can move it anywhere you need it to be, so you can get to what you have to do. You can move the bar anywhere on the screen. If you move it towards the side, it'll turn into a vertical.
You want to show her? I'll just.
Oh, okay. It's only when you share your screen that I can't do anything.
Okay. Well, I've unshared, so there you go.
Lou, did you get mine?
I'm gonna look. Yes, it did.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Congratulations.
I'm trying to figure out my phone. That's what's got me preoccupied.
Well, you did it. Did you do it on your phone, or did you do
No,
it?
I did. No, I didn't.
Okay, we'll get your phone up and running too.
I've got my phone. I'm trying to figure out what the hell Lisa was talking about.
You know what? You were using iCalendar.
Yeah, right now, I uploaded the Google Calendar.
So now you're going to have to sign in with your TalkGAF account.
I did.
Okay. Now, it might take a little bit of time to populate your calendar. So if it doesn't happen right away, thank you, Judy. Thank you, Gianna.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Brian.
Are you reading them, Lou?
I could.
Yeah, I want to see if you get something.
Yeah, yes, I did. Yeah, I got it.
Does it work?
Yep, totally, 100%.
Woohoo!
So proud. Woohoo! Yay, team!
Did the link work?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right.
Judy?
Yeah.
Did you use your phone?
No, but let me do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So I think I need a new iPhone. This one's really slow.
Oh no.
I'd be happy if they gave me an iPhone. I still got a BlackBerry.
Oh, I'm so
man.
sorry.
Maybe it's the user.
Oh.
I'm talking to myself here. No, that was directed at me.
Oh.
That was directed at me. Oh, you know what? I just got it. So event, enter title. Okay, meeting. Add guest. Oh, Lou, you're going to get another one from me.
Woohoo.
This is exciting. Guests can add others. Done. Oh, it doesn't tell me. No, this is not good. Done. Allow.
Where can I add notes? I can't get this. Come on, scroll down. Scroll down.
Big box.
Oj, matko święta, cholera jasna.
That's not Italian.
That's Polish.
Oh, way to go, Pam.
Did I get it?
I can't get to the notes.
Let's see.
Hey, Lou, did you get mine or no?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so I put the one for Friday in.
I've got Kim's. Thank you, Kim.
Lou, I sent a second one with my phone. Did you get that one?
So did I.
You guys are good.
Yes.
I
But you
can't
know
get my.
what, Maria, you got the Google Meet. Judy, can you go back into your calendar, the one that you sent from your phone?
Yeah,
And what you can do is you can add the conferencing in. You need to scroll down.
I thought I did.
No,
I
no,
think-
it's for
I
Judy.
can't get it
Maria
to
got
scroll
it.
down. Like, what's wrong with mine that I cannot scroll down? Oh,
Your calendar?
Okay, that's good.
I'm working on the invite, and I'd like to put notes.
It
Do
should
I
be
have to
there.
save for? I can see the toolbar, but I can't get down to it.
That's good.
Are you using a Chromebook or are you using a laptop?
I'm using my laptop.
And you can't scroll down?
Nope.
Do you want to share your screen so I can see what you're doing? So you know how to do it.
I did.
Yeah, bottom of the screen there, the green share.
No, I can't get to the bottom of my screen.
Maybe
Oh,
reload your page.
Oh. I mean, I can send as much as I've got, but
okay.
Sure,
All right,
send-
do it. Let's see what happens. Okay, how are we doing for time, Lisa?
we need to get started again.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
That's cool. That was good.
All right.
Guys, I just want you to know I have a team lead meeting at 2, so I'm not leaving because I'm not interested. This is great learning.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will have to step out.
Okay, no problems.
yeah,
Well,
you think with
I-
the discussion that you have to have there?
Yes, money. Or lack of.
That's more like it. Lisa, did you get it?
I'm just looking. It isn't here yet, but I'm going to reload the page and see if it's coming.
Maria, we had saved some time for you for any updates or any information at the end of this. Is there anything to report that you want to do now before you leave? Or
Well, you know what? I think the meeting will be most telling for us, but you guys know that boards got their announcement Friday afternoon around 5 o'clock. They still don't know how much money they're getting exactly. They just know what's not being funded any longer. So the 12+12 engagement is one that's not being funded. They do know that the RMS, this will be the last year that it receives funding. I don't have all the particulars, so after today's meeting, we'll be better positioned, and maybe Jacqueline and I will set up a meeting, just a quick half-an-hour catch-up meeting sometime this week with the team, so you know everything we know. At our last meeting, there was some talk about sharing fleet cars, and they took a look at addresses, and they went through all our names and who they think could share with somebody else and how that may work. So we have to have that discussion yet with the team. But I'm going to wait till after our team meeting today, and then I'll connect with Jacqueline, and then we'll send out an invite to the team with a, with a meeting link, And if you don't get it, then I guess we'll have to.
Lots of practice.
Yeah,
Think
I do have one question though before we move on from this. I'm wondering, what's the advantage of using Zoom over the Meet link that we normally use platform?
Well, today it was just because we were working in Meet that we used it, because we didn't want to have the possibility of reverberation and the hall of mirrors and all of the nice things that happen when you are talking about and demonstrating Meet in a Meet. So we separated the two out. But there are advantages. Lou can speak to what they are.
Oh, I love Zoom. Like, for example, it makes recording the sessions a lot easier. So, for example, I have been recording this so that for those people who aren't able to participate, they're able to catch up and see what we've gone through. So that's one thing. You could do just about everything, if not more, than you could in an Adobe Connect. It's just a lot easier. It's a lot more user-friendly. You could do polls. I could break everybody out automatically into different breakout rooms. It'll do it automatically, or I can assign people to different breakout rooms. I can share my screen. You can share your screen. There's a whiteboard feature. I kind of like the floating Brady Bunch piece there on the side, because then I can put it sort of out of the way or on a different screen because I'm using multiple screens. Just a whole lot of functionality to this that I really like, and it's a lot easier to use than an Adobe Connect, and a lot more powerful than the free Google Meet. I know Google Meet has a paid license that you can get, and it's got more functionality to it. But what we've been using is the one with the limited functionality, so it's not as powerful as a Zoom link. So those are just some of the pieces that I like about Zoom.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so Mary Beth, I haven't received your email yet, but I will talk to it at the end, and we'll figure out how we can get that to happen. Before Maria goes, I'm just going to share my screen for a minute, and because there is another way to do this. Let's see. Uh-oh.
Happy birthday!
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Doctor. He's on all my screens, so it's hard to get away from that. I'll try. There we go. Okay. This will be a little more appropriate. Okay. Are you seeing the slide deck?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a cute little prompt for what we're going to do next. So there's more than one way to cook an egg, more than one way to crack an egg, more than one way to peel an orange. There is another way to set up a Google Meet. And this is actually much easier. However, it's not as direct, and you appear much more skilled when you do it the way that you've already done it. So, but this is kind of a shortcut. And I'll be honest, I don't use my Google Calendar that much. So I tend to do it this way because I'm using my ontario.ca. So what you would do is you go to meet.google.com. So I can just type it in here. Meet.google.com. You can see it's actually, I've done it before. And it will populate just a blank meeting. And it shows all the great Google Meets that have been set up for me today already. But if I choose to start a new meeting, then I will click on this. And it will load. And I will go in, start the meeting. You can see already that the contact information is here, but there's an easier way to access it than that. So I'm now in this new Google Meet that I've created, which would be causing us all sorts of trouble if we had another Google Meet going. So this is why this is, we've got Zoom going. And all I have to do to copy the joining information and send it to you is click on this. And I can then go into, I can go into my email. So if I go to my board email, ministry email, pardon me, old habits die hard. And I go in, then I can create an email, and I will send it to Lou once it's loaded. Lou, and I can say meeting. And this is not going to give it a specific time. I can name the time. I can say, please meet with me at 5 p.m. Click on, and I've just cut and pasted the meeting information into here. If I want to make this a live link, usually, well, this is the web-based one, so you click on it, it goes live, and then you have to delete the old one, but there you go.
Oh, thanks for highlighting that. I think that was just me.
Yeah,
No.
Lisa, there's also the same format. If you go into your Waffle, when you're in your TealthCAF account, it
Yep.
has the same thing. You just click on Google Meet, and that's how I do it. Start a new meeting, copy, paste, so you don't have to go into .com or anything. Just click Google Meet, and the same stuff comes up.
So if you're already in, I'll just kind of demonstrate what you've said there. So I'm just going to go to my
I
drive.
just find that so easy.
Yeah, it is. So if you're in your drive,
Yeah, and go into the Waffle.
let's go into the drive first here. There's the Waffle.
Right there. Yeah. And then go to Google Meet.
It's just taking a minute to load. Oh yes, there it is. So I
Yeah,
would just
so it's the
click
same thing that comes up that you just did without having to do .com or anything.
So it's going to take me into another Google Meet that I can create.
There you go. Start a new meeting. It's the same thing.
So you end up basically back here where we were here. Now, one thing I just want to point out to you. So I did a hybrid meeting in Toronto District School Board last week with superintendents and principals, and some of them came in person. I encouraged them to come in person. But those that couldn't came in virtually. And I had one superintendent who could not even be near a computer. So we then went the phone route. Now, so you'll see here there's the link that we're used to using, but there's also a telephone option. Now, if you look here, it's an American phone number. I didn't know this. I'd given her this. She used her board phone. She didn't care. So, and it worked perfectly. She appeared, instead of appearing like a face, the phone number appears, but she could hear everything. And I have to tell you, I was in about a medium-sized room, and I had about 6 people who had come in either on the phone, or most of the other 5 were on the standard Google Meet. And they said the sound quality was perfect. Like, they could hear all the different conversations. They said it worked very, very well. But if you want to stick to a Canadian phone number, you can go over here. I'm just going to get rid of that. And you go to people, the top here, and add people. And if I add people, I need their phone number. And so I can add, well, this is going to be an email. But if I add a phone number, oh wait, this is it. Add a phone number. I'm going to add my own. So
Yeah, we cannot use the US number.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge cost involved, so we cannot use that feature.
So TDSB might be
I hope
getting-
everybody heard that.
Yeah. So you can
Caution,
I'm sure Deb
caution,
will be fine with
red alert.
Hands up, Captain.
Back up the bus a little bit.
So use the one with the nice Canadian flag, so Doug will be happy. And this, I've typed in my phone number, and it actually calls my phone.
Oh.
So if I hit call, I don't want to do it because it's going to cause the whole reverberation of sound. But if I hit call, it will call my phone, and I can enter the call from there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you have people that want to be a part of it but don't have access to a computer, they can still actually be in bed, as opposed to having conference calls going around the periphery of it and the sound differences happening, and you might get some reverberation. Everybody's funneled through one avenue. So, okay.
Awesome. So you just went to the add people, and then you clicked add call, and if you get their phone number, then you can add them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
go to call, the call part of that. Wait, so
Yeah.
add people.
And then you go to call.
Yeah.
And then you add their phone number.
Yeah. Just look for the Canadian flag. Canadian.
Good point. Say that again, Lisa. Just look for the Canadian flag.
Look for the Canadian
I
flag.
understand that we're supposed to look for the Canadian flag.
Are we
Very
looking?
good. Very good.
Okay.
Is that a cannabis flag? Or?
They haven't changed it yet. I'm surprised.
Oh, it's coming.
Okay. So on that light note, we have a quick video on some do's and don'ts of video conferencing. Lou, do we want to show this, or do
Yes,
we want
we
to?
do, and I would like us all to reflect on how many of these rules we've all broken. I know I have broken a significant number, and I am penitent.
Well, that's a word I've never heard before.
I work in a Catholic board. We do that all the time.
I understood you clearly, Lou.
I'm a heathen. I don't get this stuff.
Welcome to the do's and don'ts of video etiquette. Video conferencing is a new concept, so maybe it's time we have some guidelines to the do's and don'ts when in a video conference. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hi. How's everybody doing? Hi. Hello. Do turn your camera on, even if you are having a bad hair day. The video conferencing format is used because it is more personal, it facilitates discussion, and it creates more participation. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Don't be late. Remember, everyone has a schedule to keep to. Join your video conference early to check your microphone, your camera, and if you have any software updates.
And we're going to go ahead and take a look at next month's projected figures, and we are going to go to Sarah. Sarah.
Don't just disappear from the meeting suddenly. And if you have to, write a note that says "be right back" to let everyone in the group know. Fine, I'm really fine. Do control your background elements. It really sets a stage. So when conferencing from home, that dirty pile of dishes in the back can be really distracting. And do avoid conferencing from your bed, unless it is completely necessary, like you are recovering from surgery. Don't attempt video conferencing from a moving vehicle. Yes, we get it. Everybody nowadays is busy, and multitasking has become the norm rather than the exception, but it is dangerous and against the law in most states. Do write in video meeting on a sheet of paper and post it on your door before the meeting. If you are in an open area, shared space, or cubicle, you may want to use headphones in the meeting.
What'd she say? I can't hear. What?
Do avoid making excess noises. Sounds are amplified to the people on the other end of the call. Try cutting down on the typing, and if need be, take notes on a separate sheet of paper. And try not to rustle them around. Do become familiar with the mute on and mute off system. This means your mute is on. When your mute's on, nobody can hear you. This is when your mute is off. That means everybody can hear you. Don't eat in front of the camera. The camera sees all, even if you forget it was there. Would you really want to be slurping your noodles in a meeting? No? Then don't bring it to your video conference. What'd you do this weekend? Went out with some friends. Have you ever heard of the Noodle Bar?
I've been wanting to try it since
Yeah, it's so good. We went there. Don't start chatting with someone in the room while you're in a meeting. If we were all in the same room, you wouldn't strike up a conversation with the person next to you. So don't do it in your video conference either. You raise your hand or look for social cues before starting to speak. Sometimes there can be many people in a video conference, which can make it hard to get your word in. Some video conferencing programs have a raise hand feature, or you can type in a question in the chat if it is being monitored. Be sure to have that mute on so typing isn't heard.
your challenge the points identified. There.
Look at the camera whenever possible. This takes practice, since it is habit to look at the screen, but looking away from the webcam can give off a signal that you are not paying attention to the meeting. Do have fun. Video conferencing is a way to connect with people that you may not meet in person, and has the ability to make the big world feel much smaller.
All right. Okay. So there's a couple of Google Meet features that we didn't go over before, but I think you're fairly familiar with them. So we know where our mic is. So this is how you obviously turn your microphone on and off. You can also do it, as usual, there's more than one way, up in the little film strip corner here. Your camera is operated down there at the bottom, on and off. And when you want to leave a call, you click on this. And if you suddenly realize you've done that and you want to rejoin the call, you can just click rejoin, and that will take you right back into the call.
Sorry, Lisa, when you said where do you, are you in the Zoom demonstrating that or just Meet?
I'm in Meet.
Okay, okay.
Through
Okay.
Zoom. So it's like the Hall of Mirrors here. This is my screen in Meet, whereas you're looking through Zoom.
Sorry, that's right. All right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Sharing, presenting. So, you know, like I've been doing, and I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work with everything going on, but the Present Now button is here. And when you click on that, it offers you the option of your entire screen or a window. You can use your entire screen. I've done it. But when you do that, and some of you might have noticed, if you have pop-ups happening, like I have my text messages attached to my screen, you can read people's pop-ups. If you go with just a window, then you're going to be clicking on just that, and that's all they'll see. They will not see all the extraneous stuff that's going on in your computer. So I think it's usually best to go with just the window, not with the whole screen. Luke, can you think of a time when you'd want to go with the whole screen?
I guess when you want to show, I guess if you want to show maybe files on your desktop, or you just want to, you know, there's something that you need to show, I guess. I've used either one, but Lisa's right. You're probably better off showing just a window as opposed to showing your screen.
Mm-hmm. You just never know what might pop up. So,
yeah. And,
story.
Yeah, and we're using Zoom. Otherwise, you wouldn't see what Lisa's doing. You wouldn't see when she's clicking on the Present Now. You wouldn't see any of that. If we were just using a Google Meet, you wouldn't be able to see it. She'd have to talk you through it. But because we're using Zoom, she's able to show you what Google Meet looks like. I know it's kind of weird, but that's why we had to use a different platform.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to give it back to Lou. Are you okay to pick
Sure.
up a little bit?
Yeah, where are we at?
We are at pinning.
Pinning. Oh, okay. Oh gosh. Okay, so
You want me to do it? I can do it.
yeah, can you do it because you're still in the Google Meet? Yeah, you're still in the Google Meet. Okay.
Okay, so sorry, just give me a second here. Oh my goodness. There we are. Okay. Okay, so we've talked often about the fact that you want to always be able to see the slide deck or the person who's presenting. And so, or there may be a main speaker that you want to be paying attention to. And if that's the case, what you need to do is you need to pin them. And what you do to do that is you click on, in this case it's me, the slide deck in the corner there, so that that little white pin shows up, and that keeps this particular person front and center, keeps their screen front and center. So if they're the one showing the slide deck, they will, no matter who's talking, it will not leave their screen, because we know it's always driven by the microphone and who's talking, unless you have pinned a specific person to that spot. So, and to unpin, you just click again. So you can't really see the pin, you just have to kind of stick the finger in there and pin away. Yes. Google Chat, you're all very familiar with that. The chat for Google Meet, and you just type and then hit send, and it pops up. You can see how many people are in there. They're listed, and a little film strip goes along the side, and whoever's talking the most is up at the top. And yeah, that's one way to see who's here. And a lot of you've already figured that out from when we've kind of taken attendance, beginning of meetings. The 3 dots.
I can do that if you want.
Do you want me to click on it and you talk to it, or you want to go take over the screen?
You know what? Why don't you click on it and I'll speak to it. Okay.
3 dots.
Okay. So you can. Ooh.
Sorry. No, I'm just trying to get rid of that. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So you can, if you want, you can make your. If you click on full screen, your full screen will go into the Google Meet. You won't be able to access any tabs or anything like that, but it cuts down on anything extraneous around the actual Meet itself. Okay, if you go back into the 3 dots, okay, see, there's the difference, right? So you've got your tabs, you can still access the tabs if you go into full screen, and I would only use that if I'm not doing any work, because I like to be able to access documents and other things if necessary, especially if I'm gonna save stuff, okay? So next thing, if I click on settings, okay, and this I only use more as a troubleshooting feature, okay, because let's say somebody on the other end is having a problem either with their camera or with their sound or something's going wrong. This is a great place for you to go have them go in to take a look at what's happening, right? So if you click on camera, okay, it will indicate whatever devices you have on your laptop that have a camera. In this case, there's only the one, so you're good. You can change the quality actually. So if you click on quality, okay, let's say your bandwidth is not working so well or your internet is really slow, you can lower the quality of the actual video itself. So that way you don't lose the connection. It's a little bit more of a stable connection, or you can keep it on high definition, okay? And this is the sending resolution and the receiving resolution, okay? So you can control what that is gonna look like from both ends. So back into devices. Oh, and you can determine whether you just wanna send your audio only as well, right? So back into the devices, okay, microphone. If you want, you can use the built-in microphone, or you could add in an external microphone here as well. The default and the internal are the same here, and in this case, because we're using Zoom, and I think there's probably a Zoom patch that is installed when you use Zoom. This is another means of I guess communicating sound. You go into the speakers and you're wondering, okay, is there a problem with my connection? Why am I not hearing? You can always do a test. So if you click on the test icon there, that's the test. So you know that your sound is okay, so maybe the sound is not working on the other end, okay? And as with the other features, if you click on the arrow beside speakers, you've got some options in terms of which speakers are being used. And if you connect external speakers, it should show up on here. So let's say you're doing a staff meeting, they need to connect the laptop to external speakers, but it's not working for whatever reason. This is where you would go to make sure that they've, at least within the Google Meet, you're getting that connection happening to the external speakers, okay? Now, obviously, if it's okay here and they're still not getting sound, then they're gonna have to go into their control panel on their computer and figure that out. Any virtual meetings that I've had, there's always somebody who's really keen on the other end who's been able to troubleshoot a lot of this stuff, but it's good for you to know anyway. Okay, and I think that covers those pieces. Okay.
Yeah. So for some reason I'm having trouble. There we go. Okay, pop back in. Okay, so we've covered off all of these pieces here. The next thing we can try is if you would like to try to share your screen. You could get a partner. We've got people missing, so I don't know if these partnerships will work. And you could invite a partner. So partner 1 would invite partner 2 to a Google Meet. And then once you meet, you can share your screen with your partner, exit the meeting, and then partner 2 invites partner 1 to a meet, and you can share your screen. So how would people like to proceed with that? Because I'm thinking too, we probably need a bit of a break at this point.
Okay. So how about we take...
On my screen, I'm only seeing that there's 4 of us.
Yeah, there's more. We've got 11 people here. So how about we take an 8-minute break, okay? And when you come back, we'll rejig this so that somebody is partnered up with somebody else. Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Sound good? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Have a nice break.
Thank you.
So, all right.
Lisa,
Yes?
let me try sending you an invite again.
Sure.
Because it's this is just a little bit weird, but I think it may have frozen when I was trying it.
Sounds like it, just from the way you described it.
Lou and Lisa,
Yes?
Lou and Lisa, I need to leave. I have an appointment, so I just wanted to say thank you. And then will I be able to access this afterwards?
Yes. You'll be able to access the slide deck and actually a recording of this session as well.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Kim.
And if you want to explain the slide 32 and what we're going to do with our diminished numbers.
Okay, sorry, just figure out which screen I'm on. Okay. So we had talked a little bit ago about practicing sharing our screens. So Lou has rejigged our partners. So if you would like person 1, if you could go out and invite person 2 into a Google Meet. Lou, do you need to be in that middle group?
Not necessarily, no. I think they can manage it.
And so you can invite person 2 or person 3 in that case to the Google Meet, and then attempt to share your screen. And if you remember, let's just quickly, I'll just review what that looks like. Let me just find a Google Meet to go into.
Lisa, can we go through our waffle in Google Meet, right, like Maria showed us?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you can,
Brian,
if you want to send the invitation. You've got now like 2-3 ways to do it.
Yeah, you can do it any way you'd like. So you can go through the waffle, or you can go through the calendar, however you'd like to do it. I'm just sorry, I was just looking at the presenting piece. So just remembering that to present, you click here, click a window, select the window, and then this will light up and you'll click share.
Brian, I sent you an invitation already, except I don't know how to find it again. Actually, a question. So
How do you do that?
I went through the Google Meet and I copied the link that's there and I sent it to Brian, except it's gone. So I've got to go back in my email to find it. Is there a simpler way to do that? I don't know why I must have clicked off on my screen. Is there a simpler way to do that, or?
Well, no, you have to go through your Sense, I guess, because you probably put the link in there, right, in the email?
Yeah, I don't know why it would have disappeared though. But anyway, I'll go back through my email.
Are you in it anyway? I did that, Judy, and I'm in it waiting for Sean.
You know what? I didn't actually go in it, so that's what I did. I must have clicked off on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't know where to find it now. I'm just sitting here waiting for him to hopefully get it.
What you want to do is mute your mic in the Zoom, just so we don't get like sound all over the place. Hi, Brian.
How do you, Judy, I'm just asking you a question. Are you sending the message through Telcaf?
I sent, there you are, Brian. We're in together. Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'll mute over here.
We're there.
Am I sending to you, Lou?
Or Mary Beth. Okay.
I'm already sending to you, Pam. I'm sending it to your Ontario.
Okay.
When you guys are done, come on back to the Zoom.
And I'll be watching because I
Yeah.
can see you.
Big Brother's monitoring.
Hi, everybody. Can you tell me how I can mute you? I can mute myself.
I'll mute myself.
You know what? How do I mute you?
We'll mute ourselves.
Okay. Because with this Zoom, I've lost all my capability to find my own audio on my laptop. Okay, thanks.
I'm muted. Do you see me now? You hear me?
Pam, did you get it?
I got it, Mary Beth. I'm just on my way.
Brian, I can see you, and I've sent you messages because I think your mic might be off in the Meet.
Here we go. So if you want to take us back to the slide deck, Lisa.
Okay.
And I think we're on slide 33.
All right. Sorry, just give me 1 second here.
Okay.
I saw you had the screen, so I've been slacking. Sorry.
No, that's okay. How did we do, everybody? Before we go on, how did we do? Mostly good. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. If we did okay. Thumbs up. Brian, it's your computer. It's not you. You know how to. You've got this, man. I know you've got this. You were having some sound issues actually at the start of the session.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I figured out is that when I go into Google Hangout, I can do the whole invitation thing from there. I was just trying to juggle too many things at once.
So when you go into Google Meet or Google Hangout, because they're actually two different things.
I went to the Google Meet, got all confused, and then I went to Google Hangout and did it the way I knew how to do.
And you can use Google Hangouts, but there's some limitations to them compared to the Meet. So maybe if you want to stick around at the end, we can maybe try to figure out how we can get you doing it through Google Meet. Because we're just about done. We're going to be done the next 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. So,
you know what, with me, what I do is I kind of figure stuff out in a way that's easy for me to figure out. And then I stick with that. And then somewhere down the road, somebody either shows me a better way, or I stumble on a better way, or I decide, oh, there's got to be an easier way to do it. And then I kind of, I'll either Google, do a tutorial on YouTube to figure out how to do it better, or mostly it comes to me. Somebody shows me, or I figure it out on my own, right? So, and that's kind of how I've approached learning technology from the get-go. Today, in fact, between the lot of you, I've learned a lot of other things that I didn't know, which is great. So I love when everybody offers, how they do it or a solution. It's kind of like math, right? No one way to do it, And exactly the same thing. There's no one way to do all of these things. You may find a way that's going to work for you. That's not wrong. It's the way that works for you. And as long as it's working and you're happy, then, you know, I would stick with it until you kind of decide to do it a different way. Okay. Lisa, do you want to do this slide here?
So I'm not going to read this slide to you because you're very familiar with it, but it's just those virtual meeting protocols that we've inserted into all of our slides. We encourage you to use or discuss at least the virtual meeting protocols when working in a virtual environment. I can say that I've seen a huge progression in how well we function as a group from the beginning to now. In understanding this, some of it we would have figured out whether we had a list of rules or not, but you know, just even the sense of how to talk one at a time and how to use a chat box, all of those pieces are so important if you really want to be able to have an effective learning environment. And as we know, we're not all born knowing how to navigate this on our own, so please feel free to use this as part of the work you're doing. Sorry, go back. And here are a couple of tutorials. They're just little videos. The bottom one is kind of cute. Talks quite a bit about the different features of Hangout Meets. So I just like Lou, when I find myself stuck on something, I will either Google it directly, just like type in my question into Google, or I will look for, usually they're on YouTube, videos that explain whatever the issue is. These are just mostly generic. A lot of the stuff that we've already talked about, they cover. But if you forget something, if you learn better, some people learn better through videos than through reading. They're a good resource for you to have. And you can see the content is kind of listed there on the side. And we've also linked you to some FAQs, some frequently asked questions, and the Google Drive Support Center. Google does a very good job of supporting their applications. And not only that, if there's something about the application you don't like, you can actually write to them on some of these platforms, these websites, and they will answer you back. And sometimes they will actually change their platforms if they get enough people with the same concern. I know when Google Classroom came out a few years ago, people complained that there was no opportunity for teachers who shared classes to actually merge classes on Google Classroom, and they, as a result of that feedback, changed it. So it's always good to share your feedback with product developers like Google. All right, and I will have Lou, if you want to wrap it up and tell us about your amazing website that you've developed.
Well, it's a website, but thank you. If you click, at least if you click on the here, that's how you can access the website. What we're doing is as we're doing these sessions, we're just we're curating the slide decks, and at some point I'll be uploading videos as well, so that you've got this as a resource. So this is just sort of the home page just sort of outlines the learning goals and the different sessions that we're planning. A little bit of a change because we didn't expect to actually have to present today, but it was good to have a prime time spot. So our first, I feel like, you know, we slid into the Big Bang's time slot on a Thursday night, and we're going to hit the big time. But anyway, so if you click on the Google Drive link there, Lisa, if you don't mind, that takes us to the first workshop we did, which is the Google Drive. So the actual slide deck is there, and there's also a second slide deck, which is primarily GIFs, which actually go through a lot of the functionality that we explained around Google Drive. So, you know, you can always work through the slide deck, which was the workshop, and then if you need to see sort of a demonstration of a lot of those pieces, that second slide deck is there. And so what I'm going to do is I'll record little snippets, you know, because it's tough to sit through like an hour and a half. So what I'll do is you know, there'll be like a 2-minute snippet that will explain how to create a folder, a 2-minute snippet that will explain permissions. So it'll kind of be broken down so that way you don't have to sit through an entire, you know, hour, 45-minute video trying to figure out what it is you need to learn, right? So if you go into Google Meet, that's actually there. This slide deck is already there because it was already linked in. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work because now this slide deck is Google Meet and it's Google Slides. And And then the next session was intended to be Google Docs, but I think we're going to have to change things around. What I'm thinking is because we're coming to the end of our time together, we're going to save Google Slides, at least part 1 of Google Slides for the new year. Likely the first Wednesday back. We'll send you, Lisa and I are going to sort of look at our calendar to see if we need to adjust our time. Now that we're out in schools, it gets a little bit more difficult. So we'll send you an email with when our next workshop date time will be, but we're going to try to stick to the Wednesday. This site will always be there for you anyway, so we're going to try to record the sessions and post them up here if you want to go back to them, but the slide decks will definitely be there. Okay, so you'll get more information about what's happening moving forward in terms of the next session. Lisa, if you want to move to the next slide deck, and these are just sort of the topics that we've come up with. And Google Slides part 1 will happen in January sometime, looking at January 9th. We'll have to confirm a time with you either before the holidays or right when we get back. Are there any questions about anything we've done today?
Thank you very much. Excellent.
That's fantastic.
That was awesome, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here and for contributing. I really appreciate. I like that sharing piece because we've all got something to teach each other, and I think that's great. And great questions too. Love good questions.
Really good.
Big good questions. So
Yeah,
thanks
really
for that
good
as well.
So just to confirm, Lou, you said so we can access the slide deck. You're sending it to us, because it's not on the shared drive right now, right?
No, it isn't, but it's on the website as so what I'm gonna, and it's open. Okay, so I'll send the link to the website to you so that way as it builds, you've got access to it and any other little goodies that I add to it. I find that sometimes when you put stuff in a folder, you lose things, right? You don't actually see it, and so you don't know what you're looking for in a folder. But on a website, I can sort of point out, hey, this is a really good resource, or this is good for this, or this is, you know what I'm trying to get at?
Excellent.
Is that making sense? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
So I'll send out the link to everybody so that you've always got, and then what I would do is visit the website and bookmark it so that you can always go back.
Okay. Fantastic.
Anyone else? Anything else? Lisa, any final words?
No, just have a safe and happy holiday, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year if we don't see you tomorrow at this meeting.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Great job. You're amazing. And thank you for making this a lot of fun.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Mary Beth, you're calling me? Mary Beth, are you calling me?